Mtazamaji, baada ya taarifa hiyo ni kwamba hivi sasa tutakuwa tunaangazia mahojiano ambayo analetwa moja kwa moja na mwanahabari wetu Brian Obuya akizungumzia kuhusiana na shambulizi zima la Westgate ambalo lilitokea mwaka 2013, na Brian Obuya anazungumza na sasa gavana wa Kajiado Joseph Ole Lenku ambaye wakati huu alikuwa ni waziri wa usalama wa masuala ya ndani. Tuyapate mahojiano hayo.
That was a Saturday morning, and as it is, the Minister for Interior is always handling one situation or the other, sometimes many of them neighboring emergencies. And I was chairing a meeting at Harambe House just to manage the security situation, because at that time there were a lot of terrorist activities across the globe, so we were studying situations. And the Director General of Police, Kimayo, had gone for another meeting. And as I was chairing this meeting, I saw his missed call, but I said I will call him back shortly. And in a minute, I see the President's call. Naturally, for the President call, you must take it. So I picked, and President Uhuru asked me, Lenku, what is happening in Westgate? Of course, I didn't know what's happening. So I said, Your Excellency, please allow me to cross-check. And then I saw Kimayo persistently calling. Suddenly I see Karangi. Karangi then was the head of our KDF, and Kimayo told me we have a terrorist attack in Westgate. I disconnected his call, talked to Karangi, the same story. I got back to the President and I told him, Your Excellency, we have a problem at the Westgate. Allow me to get to the ground and I will call you back. So immediately I stopped the meeting at Harambe House to attend to the Westgate.
There was an impression that the country was caught flat-footed on this. Was there prior intelligence before this? They have been ignored, for instance.
The natural thing that happens in government, we will be comparing intelligence from our own system, from superpowers like the US, the Israelis were also nearby. You know, the regional security system for Eastern Africa will also be having the information. So it is bigger than just Kenya alone. And of course, it is much bigger than Ole Lenku, who was the vocal person and would be seen to be, you know, not up to the task at that time. And so we were not caught flat-footed. We knew some malls were under threat. So we actually knew that there was imminent terrorist activity to happen in the country.
Then there is a whole talk that the Israelis might have been involved heavily. I would want to know, perhaps the country would want to, who was in charge of the command system? Was it you, was it the KDF, or some foreigners?
Naturally, the way the security architecture is configured is that attacks on the internal affairs of the country will squarely fall under the Ministry of Interior, headed by the Minister for Interior, who then happened to have been me. And therefore, there was no question of where is the vocal point. Yes. The vocal point was myself as the spokesperson for the ministry. But as I said earlier, our National Security Council, chaired by the President, also immediately convened to discuss. And as I say, that terrorism being a global phenomenon and a global problem, even global players will share the information. So the plug-in by the Israelis, you know, the US team, other regional players, were to supplement Kenyan's efforts. But the vocal point was the Minister for Interior.
And those guys were even accused of blowing up the place. I mean, you know, just before you came and told the country that there were some mattresses on fire and everything, it will later turn out that the place had actually been blown up. Were you aware?
There was a lot of fire in the mall, you know, from the terrorists themselves and from our team. Naturally, when we said the terrorists burned the mattresses and all that.
Did they?
But you saw the whole thing burning.
What mattress is really on fire?
I think the mall was on fire. And therefore, if you singled out the mattresses, possibly as then the case was, you know, the mall had supermarket. Naturally, there will be many mattresses in the supermarket and all that, but the entire mall was on fire.